Dear grade 12 students, welcome to this new lesson in which we are going to talk about the past tenses in English. This lesson will be in two parts. Now, let's start the first part. By the end of this lesson, you are going to identify the four past tenses in terms of the form and the usage, and also you are going to use those past tenses in small practice by correcting the verbs in brackets. Let's start by considering those four sentences. What's the difference? When I arrived, they talked about me. When I arrived, they were talking about me. When I arrived, they had talked about me. And when I arrived, they had been talking about me for an hour. Look at number one. When I arrived, they talked about me. What happened first? Yes, I arrived first, and then they started talking about me. Then number two, I arrived while they were talking about me. Yes, the talking happened first, was going on, and then I interrupted by my entrance. So the arrival happened in the middle of the action of talking. Number three, when I arrived, they had talked about me. Now it's different. I arrived after they had already finished talking about me. So they finished talking about me and then I arrived. In number four, when I arrived, they had been talking about me for an hour. It's a little bit the same like number three, but here we focus on the duration of the action for an hour. The duration of the action. So I arrived after they had been talking about me for an hour. Now let's consider each tense separately. Number one, the past simple tense. The past simple tense is simply formed by just using the past form of the verb. We call it verb 2. Actually, we have two groups of verbs. We have regular verbs and we have irregular verbs. For regular verbs, we simply add d or ed to the verb. For example, play becomes played. But for regular verbs, the rule is different. We need to memorize them. For example, the word see becomes saw. I saw him yesterday. But what are the uses of past simple? Actually, you have three main uses. Number one, actions which happened at a specific time. Look at this example. They went to Australia last year. And notice the word last year. This one is a specific time. So if I ask it when, the answer is yes, last year. Number two, past habits. By past habits, I mean the habit for me in the past but no longer exists now. For example, she spent every holiday in Wales as a child. So she spent every holiday in Wales, not now, but when she was only a child. But now the case is different. Number three, actions which happened one immediately after the other. So we have two or three verbs happening after each other. So we use past simple to express them. Look at this example. He packed his suitcase, grabbed his passport, and drove to the airport. So he packed, then grabbed, and then drove to the airport. Three successive verbs. Now let's move to the past continuous. The past continuous is simply formed by just using the past form of verb to be, which is was, were, plus the verb plus ing. So, I was playing, or they were sleeping. But what are the usages of the past continuous? The past continuous is mainly used in four main usages. Number 1. An action which was in progress at a stated time in the past. So we don't know when this action started or when it finished. Look at the example. I was sleeping at 3 o'clock yesterday. So at specific time, which is 3 o'clock, I was sleeping. The second use is a past action which was in progress when another action interrupted it. We use the past continuous form for the action in progress, I mean the longer action, and the past simple for the actions which interrupted it, which is the shorter action. Look at the example. I was playing when I broke my leg. So the action of playing was going on when it was interrupted by breaking my leg. I was playing when I broke my leg. The third usage for the past continuous is to express two or more actions which were happening at the same time in the past. Look at the example. While I was studying, my father was watching TV. Is there any kind of interruption? Of course not. So I was studying, and at the same time my father was watching TV. Number 4, past continuous is used to give background information in a story. So if we're going to set the scene, for example, we can use the past continuous. Look at this example. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. The sun was shining and the birds were singing. This kind of background information in a story. This is the end of part 1. Thank you for now and see you again.